today to do a little vlog slash blog on back pain, just a few pointers how to overcome it, what to do, and just basically give you a guide to alleviate it, because the last thing anybody wants is being in pain, especially in the sort of back area at this time. This is something I've suffered with over the years, and I've actually got a bit of it at the moment. We're all in lockdown, and I would imagine everybody's circumstances are pretty much the same. We're all in the house, sitting at our desks a bit more, on the computer, on the iPads, with poor posture. We're doing a bit of DIY, so we're using muscles that we potentially have never used in a few years. So at the moment I'm painting a garden fence, which is absolutely huge. So I'm up and down, picking up paint, bending down all the time, repairing a bit of decking as well, so you're always bent over and you're drilling and trying to lever stuff up. So you're putting yourself into awkward positions which can bring on back pain. Playing with the kids as well, doing horsey and things like that can also bring on a bit of back pain. Watching TV, so you're slouched on the couch and you're possibly drinking a little bit more than what you have done in the past. You naughty boys and girls, you need to stop that. You need to rehydrate, because all of these things bring on lower back pain. But we're going to show you how to get rid of it and how to keep on top of it. So we're going to do about 3 stretches, a couple of mobility exercises, some soft tissue techniques, and a couple of strengthening exercises which help build up the muscles, which are essential for a healthy pain-free back. So the first stretch that we're going to do and we're going to talk about today is we call it the figure of 7 stretch, and it's predominantly for the gluteals. It's an area that tends to be forgotten about, but this stretch gets right into all those muscles that tighten up and stop working properly and make the back dysfunctional, and it leads to lower back pain. So the setup is pretty much just like a sort of a press up setup to begin with. So get on all fours like that, and then come up into this kind of bridge position, and then you're just going to take your right foot and bring it up to as close to your left hand as is possible. Now, different people have different amount of mobility, so it doesn't really matter where it gets to, as long as you can feel a stretch through this right buttock. I'll turn it around in a minute so you can see this better. So from here, you're just going to break the arms a little bit and come forward and lie nice and flat, but the whole time you're kind of trying to push through your right buttock. And then if you come left and you come right, you'll feel it in different areas, and it's slightly more acute in certain areas. So let me just show you that again. Press up kind of position, up, slide the foot up and across to your left hand, push your knee into your right knee into the ground a little bit, and then kind of force back. So you're going down and into that glute. And I don't know if you can just see that one, but my foot, I'm actually dragging myself back with that foot, digging my toes in. So my right knee's digging into the ground, and my left toe, and I push back into that glute. And then as I go left, I hit it at a slightly higher point, and then as I go right, it gets lower down into the belly of the glute. Okay, you can do it standing in a more seated position as well if you want. It's just wherever you feel it. Everyone's pain is different. Your pain will be different from my pain. So you just have to play about with it. I call it getting into the corner. So wherever you feel like you get a little bit of acute pain, just hold it there. And again, you probably want to be holding this for 20 to 30 seconds, or even longer, until you feel it ease off. And you want to be doing it on both sides. And what you'll find is one side will be sorer than the other in general. Like my left side is always a bit more tender than the right, and it seems to have less mobility as well, which is probably why it's sore. So when I get into that position here, I feel that radiates pain right up into my lower back. It's a great stretch. Now, you can either do this on the floor or elevated. the wee table here, which I just happen to have. But this could be a couch, it could be a kitchen table, whatever you've got handy to balance your leg on. Again, depending on your range of mobility, you can go at different heights, but if I get in here, that gives me an even more aggressive stretch, and then I can break my leg at the back and sort of get a bit lower there, and that hits me right up and into the lower back and the QL. Again, short from the right. Oh, that's a great stretch. This is one of my favourite stretches. And then pull to one side, and you get a slightly different sense, so that's hitting me right up here on the top of the hip. And the left, that gets me more in the lower back. Okay, the next stretch that we're going to do is a lumbar and thoracic spine rotation. So why do we do this? We just want to increase the range of movement in the lumbar spine and in the thoracic spine as well. Set up, there's a few different ways you can do it, but the way that I usually try and do it is by coming flat on my back with my arms outstretched and my legs together, and then I'll bring one knee up, and then I'll try and place this knee on the ground while keeping my right shoulder on the ground at the same time, and then I'll grab a hold of my leg and try and force it down. You might have a wee click or a crack there, that's totally normal. Generally when I'm really sore or a bit uncomfortable in my lower back, it won't click because there isn't movement in there to allow it, but it's totally normal to have a wee click. I feel much better after it actually. It's like a finely tuned revolver, just clicks into place and then I'm ready to go. I remember when I played rugby, it used to click whenever I did that at the start of a game, and then I'd kind of feel like I was ready to play. Anyway, so another way you can do this, like if you need something, if your range of movement's pretty poor, what you can do is you can use a bit of a weight. So I've got a weight here, but you could just anchor yourself under your couch if you were doing this in your front room, for example. Put hand under the couch, bring your right knee up, and then force that left knee down. You'll really feel this deep in the lumbar spine through your QL. So I'm feeling that down in here at the back through in my lumbar spine. It's a great stretch and it really does help and make you feel much better when you get up after this. And then we go the other way. Bring the knee up. Keep this shoulder on the ground for as much as you can. Oh, and as you'll see, I'm nowhere near as flexible on that side. Oh. So I'm getting a good stretch through my glutes, a good stretch through my lumbar spine and into the QL, and I'm also getting a bit of thoracic rotation as well. Now another way you can do that, especially if you've got a slightly less range of movement than I maybe have, is just lay your hands by your side, and then from there you're going to just reach back for as far as you can. It's essentially the same stretch, but it's more of a thoracic rotation, this one. Come back in there and try and reach back and get that arm flat on the ground. I like to pull this leg down because it just forces me that wee bit extra. And you want to take it just to a little bit of discomfort and then try and twist away with your shoulders. Twist this way so that you get that little bit of extra rotation. The next stretch we're going to do is a Quadratus Lumborum stretch, or a QL, and we're going to use a door frame to do this. So the setup, you're going to come in, you're going to try and place your left foot as close to the door as you can and your right one as far away, and you're going to grab hold of the door, and then you're just going to try and ease your hip as far away from the doorway as you possibly can. And if you kind of try to twist into it as well to keep your hips as far forward as you can, you'll find is right through this section here you're getting a fantastic stretch. Again, play about with it. You can tilt a wee bit or push to get different spots. Wherever you feel the pain, just hold it for 2 or 3 minutes if you can per day. Oh, I'll show you from the other side. Again, I feel it much more in my left side than I do my right side because it's a lot tighter. So you should spend a lot more time, or probably double the time, on the side that's tight to the side that's not so tight. Next exercise we're going to talk about is the mountain climber. It's not a classic mountain climber like you would see in a circuit. This is more of an extended mountain climber, and we'll add in a little bit of a bounce as well. Now, the stretch is predominantly for the psoas, which tends to shorten when we're doing all the things that we talked about earlier, like sitting at a computer, so you're sat there. You get that rounded back, you're driving, you're picking up the kids, you're drilling stuff, or you're decking, whatever, repeating a fence. A lot of these things that we do in life tends to take us into this kind of flex position. So what we want to try and do is take our body in the opposite direction, so into kind of extension if we can. Do exercises which gets into this kind of position here, which is obviously going to increase our range of movement and take our bodies in the opposite direction. So predominantly for the hip flexors, a bit of glute and a bit of lumbar as well. So for the setup, again we want to just kind of get into a bog standard press up position, and then what we're going to do is we're going to jump up and bring our right foot up to our right hand, and at the same time we're going to pop our hip through and bounce for 3 times. Then we're going to reverse it, we're going to bounce up, change, bounce through the right. Now as you're doing this, what you want to do is really pop your hips through to kind of extend your back a little bit, so you can look up, pop your hips through, and as you do that, I'll show you from the front, as you do that, you'll feel it right through here, right through the psoas, which is your hip flexor, and as you pop it through, you're getting a very good stretch right through that area. You'll also feel it in this glute here, and you'll feel it in your lumbar spine as well if you're able to get enough extension. Okay, so I'll do a few just at the sort of pace that we'd like you to do them at. So up, bounce, 2, 3, swap, bounce, 2, 3. Really pop the hips through. Up, 2, 3, 4. So the foot at the back, it wants to almost be between the width of your 2 hands, and you want to try and get up your foot almost up to your hand. If you can only manage to here, then that's fine, if that's what your range of movement. But what we want to try and avoid is this kind of thing. You're not really getting the movement here. We need it to be as high up, and we need that hip to be through and extending the back a little bit. There. And I can feel that, as I say, right through the hip flexors. right through the spine, the lumbar spine as well, and I get hit a bit in the glutes as well, so it's stretching all those things, which is going to increase the length of that, which is going to hopefully take us out of that flex position. And you'd be looking to do maybe sets of three or four sets of between 10 and 12 reps would be a good starting point. But it's more about the quality of the movement than the amount of reps, and you should feel it in your hip flexor. Okay, the next exercise we're going to look at is a Mackenzie back extension. Nothing to do with me, I never invented it. Someone far more intelligent than me invented it many years ago. But this is a lumbar intravertebral joint extension, and it moves us away from that flex position that we often find ourselves in that we've talked about. This will be prescribed by most doctors if you've got back pain, and it reduces the chance of a posterior disc issue because it's taking your body into that extension. So the setup, you want to lie on your front and then just come up onto your elbows and push your stomach towards the mat. And if you've got quite acute back pain, then you'll probably find even at this stage it is pretty sore, and you can feel it right through the lumbar spine, right from your first rib down to just above your SI joint. Second stage, you'll be looking to come up onto your arms and really extend your back and look up as much as you possibly can. And there you'll start to feel it in your stomach and your psoas as well. So this is stretching your psoas and your abdominals. And you'll feel it in your paraspinals as well. Now, another wee tip here, if you want to go even further, is you can push up through your feet. So if I come up onto my arms and then I'm pushing through my toes and extending the back to its maximum amount as well. And obviously the more range of movement that you've got, the healthier the back will be. So the next thing we're going to talk about is foam rolling. This is a pulse roll foam roller, which is a very good one, but you really can use anything. This is my trusty steed. It's basically just an old piece of pipe, and there's no padding on that at all, and I've been using that for years. So first exercise we're going to do, we're just going to place this foam roller in the lumbar spine and just relax out over it. Take some nice big deep breaths and then just exhale out and try and relax as much as possible. Your body will be reluctant to it at first, but as you get used to the pain, you will start to almost melt over the foam roller. You should feel that in your paraspinals and your QL right through there, and you'll begin to feel your psoas stretch as well. And then just dig in your heels and your elbows and roll forward, and then extend again and relax. Again, take some deep breaths. If it's too uncomfortable, bring your heels up and just try and push your chest out. Again, roll forward into the thoracic spine and just try and relax out over the pipe. Over. Then come up on your heels and just twist to one side. You can cross your arms over if you want, and just roll through the left hand set paraspinals. And then when you feel somewhere which is a bit acute, a bit uncomfortable, again just spend a bit of time there, hold on it and just rub across it. And what you will find is one side will be a lot sorer and tighter than the other. And then twist to the other side and go right from the base of your spine right up to your scapula. Spend a bit of time doing that. You can spend as long as you want doing this really. I sit and watch TV and do it.
And as I say, when you find spots, just spend a bit more time, because it's not normal. If it's much sorer than somewhere else, then that's signifying a bit of inflammation to you. Again, you can put your hands over your head if you want. Try and get into a bit of rotation, extension. And when you're doing it, if you want to do it bilaterally, so you're right in the middle there, it almost feels like you're getting a bit of mobilisation, like someone's pressing right down on your vertebrae, which is quite relieving. Show you with the pipe. It's a bit more severe. Equally as effective. I find it gets in even deeper because there's no padding on it. And I know up on the left hand side there, just below my rib cage, there's a seriosensitive area which tightens up whenever I get a sore back, so I know to get in there and just really rub it out. If you need to, you can put a bit of pressure through your elbow and your feet, and that puts less weight through the foam roller. Now the next thing we're going to go on to, if you've got a ball, I've got a lacrosse ball here, but it doesn't have to be a lacrosse ball. Could be a tennis ball or cricket ball, golf ball, whatever. But if we want to get in right at the lumbar spine here, right into that QL area. So you'll place the ball right in to the area we want to target, and then I just bring my knee up and grab a hold of it, and then I extend my leg, bring it up, down, up, and then I kind of twist into it. And you should feel that getting right into the QL there as you rock across it. Then I'd move up just a fraction higher. So this is just to the left of my spine here. And then there's that area I was talking about. So I dig my elbows in, rub right across it. Oh, as you get across it, you can have a couple of wee bounces. Just play about with it. You'll find the spots. And then when you do find them, just twist into them. You can do it into your glute as well. So do it there, come onto the floor, just right at the top of your hip, your glute, and just rub across it. And that gives you a massive amount of relief. It's particularly uncomfortable at the time, so when you find a spot that's particularly uncomfortable, that's signifying that there's something not quite right there. There's too much tension and it's inflamed, so you need to get in and rub it out. It's important to know that you should only do this every second or third day, because you're obviously going to damage the tissue and it's got to have time to heal. So you're going to bruise it, you're going to scar it up a little bit, and then you're going to have to let it heal. So the next day you'll be a bit sore, a bit bruised, but immediately that you come up from that, having been on the ball and trigger pointed a few different areas, it just gives you a real sense of freedom in the lower back, and it's excellent. So finally we're going to look at a couple of strengthening exercises which should help resolve our back pain. So the first one we're going to look at is, I call it Superman, but other people call it a bird dog, which we're going to get into this all four position again. We're going to extend our left leg and our right hand, so we get a pretty straight line, and I'm really trying to force my stomach down to the ground here and keep my core on at the same time. You can see my heel, I'm dragging my toes up so I keep that nice straight leg, and I can really fire up that glute there. So this works the whole posterior chain, it puts us into extension as well, and it's working the core. So here it is at full speed. So really feeling that in my QL on the left hand side there, and in my abdominals and my psoas as well, and I can also feel it down into my left hamstring. And then we'll do the right. You'd be looking to do 10 to 15 on each side, I would say there. And really just kind of crunch it at the top. So you hold it there and really squeeze that glute and force your stomach to the ground so you're getting that good extension in your back. From the front, or a slight side on, just so you can see it. Feel that all the way through that left hand side of my spine. Excellent exercise. It's also strengthening the glutes through here as well, and your paraspinals. Second exercise is a parachute. So we're going to lie flat on the ground here, and this is going to work all the musculature in our back and gets us into that extension position that we want as well. And then I'll show you a wee add-on for that. So in here, and it's a bit like you're jumping out of a plane into a parachute, so you come up, try and lift everything off the ground and hold it for 3, 2, 1, back down again. Up, 3, 2, 1, and really try and contract everything. Your buttocks, lumbar spine, shoulder blades, and try and get your thighs off the ground as well, so lift your legs up a little bit. Up into that nice extension, 3, 2, 1, back down again. Up, 2, 3, back down again. Up, 2, 3. So you'd look to do, again, probably 10 to 15 reps of that for 3 or 4 sets. And you could do that maybe twice a day and see how you go with that. Now, just as a wee add-on for that one, if you want to get a wee bit extra out of it, what you can do is just tilt to the side. So you come up into your parachute and then twist. So you're almost putting your elbow to your hip, and then come back to the front and down again. Up, twist, and down. So that's getting even more QL involved there. Oh. Bit of side flexion. And you can play about with that as well if you really want. You can just come up, left, right, back down. And that is a superb exercise, and it feels like you get a real workout right through. I mean, my lower back feels pumped at the minute, and it just feels like it's strengthening it up, and that's going to help reduce the back pain. So hopefully you've all enjoyed this blog, and we've been able to help you. Hopefully we're going to stretch you out, increase your range of movement, and then finally, once the pain's died down a bit, we're going to strengthen you back up again, and build up all those important areas that you need to have a pain-free, healthy back. Just remember, if you do feel that you need treatment or you want to speak to someone just to get some reassurance, then we are still doing remote sessions. You could either contact us by email or Facebook, or phone 01324 227 370 if you would like someone to have a look at you. So sometimes it's just better to get a second opinion, just so you know you're doing the right stuff and you're not making it any worse. So stay safe, folks, stay at home, do your exercises and your soft tissue, or you'll have a sore back.